After a number of anxious days in limbo, Canadians stranded by violent protests in Haiti are finally coming home. This was the scene at Montreal's Pierre, Elliott Trudeau Airport. Families embracing their loved ones, breathing a collective sigh of relief as a group of more than 100 tourists arrived back in Canada. We're expecting to see more of this tonight with more Canadians flying home from Port-au-Prince. That's where we find Radio Canada's Philippe Leblanc. Now he has more on Canadians trying to make their way out of Haiti.
Well, there was a group of students that came from Victoriaville in Montreal. They were supposed to get out a few days ago. They finally made it to the airport in Port-au-Prince this morning, and they're going to be able to take off on a flight, Air Transat, this afternoon. So a lot of relief on that side. Obviously, you've heard about these 8 nurses that are trapped in Grand Goave, which is a fair bit away from Port-au-Prince. They started a GoFundMe initiative to be able to raise enough money to be helicoptered out. Seems like they've beaten their goal, so they might be able to chop her out of Grand Goave and make their Air Canada flight on Monday. So we've also received from our colleagues in different regions of Canada information about other Canadians that are trapped. So we haven't been able to reach everybody, but it seems that there's a few Canadians that are looking to get out of the country as quickly as possible, because there are rumblings here that they're starting to cancel some flights, for example, some Air Canada flights in the next few days.
Philippe, you've been on the ground there for a couple of days now. What is your assessment of the overall security situation in Haiti?
It was eerily calm when we got here on Friday. It was the 9th day of protests, and Port-au-Prince didn't look at all like itself. People were scared, were hunkering down, staying home, because we've seen the protests in the past few days. 7 people lost their lives because of confrontations, violence between protesters who are asking for President Jovenel Moïse's resignation and police forces. So there were no tourists certainly outside. There were no local people milling around, living life. Yesterday was a complete change of scenery for the first time in a few days. Banks reopened, some gas stations reopened. We huge lineups for people trying to get maybe 1 liter of gas, 2 liters of gas, because you have to know that a lot of the economy is dependent on having gas and getting around, especially for the people who are doing motorcycle taxi, for example. So the level of tension eased up yesterday, and that's what we're still seeing on the ground this morning. You have to know, John, that the Prime Minister did a television address to the people of Haiti last night, announcing some economic measures to help them, so it seems to have eased up the tension. For example, he announced that starting next week the price of rice will drop, and he also announced that he would reduce his own budget at the Prime Minister's office by 30% and cut down some unnecessary fees for his staff. So that was well received. We watched it with locals working at our hotel last night, because it happened at 10:30, and everybody was cheering and clapping at the end of that speech. So that seems to be still the situation in the streets this morning. But the Prime Minister is sort of the face of the hope of the Haitian people for renewal in the political class. The face of the current trouble is still President Jovenel Moïse, and there will be protests again today. We don't know exactly when, because they're sort of spontaneous, but we know the protesters around midday should gather and target the private residence of President Jovenel Moïse. So we should expect to see a rise in the tension level again today.
Among the Canadians who have arrived back in this country was Dr. Heather Dow. Now, she was in Haiti with a medical team. To leave the country, she had to take a long, tumultuous car ride through roadblocks to the airport. She spoke to us earlier from her home in Woodstock, New Brunswick.
The idea was to try and get through the roadblocks before people were actually really manning them. That didn't work out too well for us. The trip took 7.5 hours instead of 4, and we had numerous roadblocks. Many of them made up of stone, cement blocks, wire, burning tires, burning vehicles. And at many of the roadblocks, there were demands for money. People were trying to reach inside the vehicle, trying to pull us out. There was worries about whether or not they were going to try to overturn the vehicle. There were gas bombs. There were stones pelting our vehicles and so on. One of our team members was injured during that drive